Welcome to InFocus Town Talk. I'm Donna Rodriguez, and today we are focusing on the town of Duxbury, and I am joined by Michael McGee, who is a member of the Board of Selectmen. So, Michael, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate you having me on your show.
There's so much to talk about, and I know you've been on the board now for 4 months, and this is your first term on the Board of Selectmen, but also with it expanding from 3 to 5 members, I'd love to hear your feedback back on how things are going and anything you'd like to offer the public.
I think it's been a great opportunity for our community. We have now 5 members, 4 of which were elected in the last year. Ton of energy. All of our members come from different backgrounds and different experiences. And what I've observed is that everybody on the board is really stepping it up to help out as they can, showing up to committee meetings outside of the board and at events, and trying to help and to try to move the ball forward and get projects done and to do what the residents want, to us to be an active board. And that's an exciting opportunity for Duxbury.
And having 5 of you, it must make it so much easier to spread yourself out, to be able to be part of everything else. But also coming in with all of that varied background of experiences, it just must be a phenomenal group to be able to make a difference for the town.
One would think it would be easier, but we've certainly had a challenging spring, and I know that I knew it was going to be a difficult job, but a town meeting right after we were elected, and a number of issues that have come up. We've got some pretty busy agendas this past spring, and I expect that to continue into the fall, into budget season.
And speaking of budget season, there are some things that might be supporting the town right now that I'd like to get into. The American Rescue Plan Act. It's estimated a total of approximately $1.9 trillion to be spread out across the country to cities and towns, and spent on lost revenue, infrastructure, and boosting local businesses following everything that all of our cities and towns have dealt with relating to COVID-19. Can you talk a little bit about how this act is impacting Duxbury, maybe if you know what the amount of funding is going to be received or how it's going to be spent?
Happy to. One of the committees that I sit on that I'm a liaison to, as a Plymouth County Advisory Committee, a board that works with the commissioners. It's select board members from all over the county who work with the commissioners and the treasurer on these type of issues. Stepping back a bit, the CARES Act was a huge success in Plymouth County. Treasurer O'Brien and the commissioners really did an excellent job of making sure that those dollars that were allotted to our county made it into our towns. Just accepted a check for $690,000 last week from Representatives Lenatra and Cutler, and I understood that another check was delivered this week. We are definitely benefiting from the fact that Plymouth County took that program on, and they're going to continue to do so with the American Rescue Plan funds, which is more of a forward program. It's for 3 years, and there's different units or buckets. Two most applicable to Duxbury are there's the non-entitlement units. And Duxbury will get a direct payment of about $1.6 million that will come directly to Duxbury. Additionally, the county is going to be taking on about $110 million. Don't quote me on that amount. That they are also developing a program to decide how that money can best be distributed among the 27 towns and cities in Plymouth County. And there's the American Rescue Plan has very specific rules and some ever-changing guidelines. So what I can say in short is that for our towns, the advice from Treasurer O'Brien has been to be patient, to come up with wish lists and to think globally as communities about what our needs are, what our small business needs are, what our infrastructure, water, sewer, and broadband needs are, and to work on that lost revenue formula under the American Rescue Plan and see if it is applicable to our town. So those are, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and I know as a community we're going to work together to tackle those issues and decide what's best going forward and how best we can use those funds, because this is essentially a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these funds.
Thank you, and we look forward to hearing more about how you're going to be able to use it, especially as you said, you're really able to examine where the needs are across the town, and being able to be thoughtful and take your time will, I'm sure, make all the difference in the world for applying them in ways that are going to make the biggest difference for the residents and for the town itself. Now, there have also been other changes, as we start to step back into what we used to call the new normal or normal, right? And for town government and how town government is operating and being able to connect to residents and members of the community, the boards and committees have the option for coming back into their meetings live in person or continuing with either hybrid or remote options. Can you talk a little bit about those discussions? And I know it's changing rapidly in every week, so people should always check the town website to get more information. But for instance, how is the Board of Selectmen handling all of this right now?
Well, speaking for myself, and I'm sure other members, the pandemic has created some positives, and one of those was the accountability and accessibility of having remote meetings available to the public. And that is also brings about a huge thank you to PACTV. Having our meetings on the PACTV on-demand website available to people has really created a positive dynamic for our town to allow busy professionals, really anybody that can't make a meeting, to be able to participate or listen in via Zoom or or after the fact. Bearing that in mind, the legislature extended this part of the open meeting law to allow for remote access to public meetings. The Board of Selectmen, for the time being, has decided to keep our meetings remote. We may have meetings in person in the future if it makes more sense for a certain issue. But right now, we're planning on having our meetings on Monday nights via Zoom. And I know some of the committees have decided to go in person, some have decided to go stay remote. It is completely their choice, and I'll leave it to those committees, and we'll see how this plays out in the next year.
And thank you. We do appreciate it. Federal funding has really allowed us to help all of our towns be more flexible too, and keep government accessible, which is the goal always to residents. So if residents are interested in viewing, if you're not sure how to find what's happening with any of your boards and committees, please visit PACTV, PACTV.org/Duxbury, and you can see what's happening that week. You can, as Mike, as you were talking about how people can watch in different ways in addition to on your channels, all of that information is right there. So we encourage everybody to be a part of local government whenever and however they can. So there's been a lot happening clearly in the town, and some of the other things that, in addition to the global pandemic and financial issues that you've been tackling, include the Board of Health has been doing a lot of work surrounding PFAs. And for those of you watching, if you're not familiar with what that term refers to, it's man-made chemicals that have really been being used in industry since the 1940s. They're found in food packaging, household cleaners, workplaces, and that's just to name a few. And they're called forever chemicals because they don't break down. They accumulate in human bodies and in our environment. And the town's Board of Health has really been tackling this project and topic. And you, as a member of the board, have also been very involved with the Board of Health. Can you tell us a little bit about what the town is doing right now around the PFAs?
Thank you. I am the liaison to the Board of Health as well. But beyond that, our other members on the Board of Selectmen have really tackled this issue proactively as well and attended Board of Health meetings recently. This is an issue that was brought to the attention of the Board of Health, I believe back in April. One of the wells had exceeded the 20 parts per, I want to say parts per million. I'm not that's not my boat, but the regulatory limit for PFAS, and the water superintendent proactively removed that well from service. As I understand it, a second sampling is still pending. We have learned of some quotes for remediation of that particular well. In parallel, the Board of Health has recommended an assessment of the former McNeil dump, who was a former landfill in Duxbury, to again determine whether there is a PFAS issue there and potential remediation of that. And at our last meeting, the Select Board voted to recommend moving forward with that assessment. We did get a quote for that, and we're taking, again, proactive steps to try to get ahead of this issue. As you know, and maybe many of these viewers know, this is not something that's isolated to our town. It's been front page news for some time now in other communities, and we want to do our best as for our residents to make sure that we have clean water, and that's something that our residents deserve. And I look forward to working with the Board of Health to proactively address and remediate any of those issues.
So for residents who are interested in more information or want to get involved and help to support the work that the Board of Health is doing, what would you ask them to do at this time?
At this point, what I would suggest is to keep informed. We are going to keep on top of it as members of the board, the Select Board, and also the Health. It's essentially been an ongoing agenda item. We do have a meeting on Monday. We also, I believe the Board of Health meets every the third Tuesday of the month, but nevertheless, those meetings are posted, and I would suggest to stay informed, and certainly reach out to me at McGee@gmail.com if you have any specific questions.
Believe it or not, we only have a couple of minutes left, and I don't know if folks realize we record these at the beginning of each month for the entire month. So we didn't want to ignore it, but we want to include all of the wonderful and exciting things that are coming up for, it's summertime, and we're able to get back out and back onto Duxbury Beach. And one of the most beloved events in Duxbury is how the community gathers around 4th of July activities. So do you have any updates for us about the beach, as well as what's going on for 4th of July celebrations?
Yes. As far as the beach, right now the beach is open for a walk-on at the southern lot is for residents only. The northern lot for pass holders, the overstand parking overflow lot essentially. It's been it's always challenging with the endangered species program and balancing that with access to the beach. But I'm very encouraged by our recreation department tackling that this year with Duxbury Beach Reservation group, and it's been a great summer so far, and hoping for some better weather in the next couple of weeks. It's kind of certainly fluctuated from extreme heat to now some rain. So hopefully we get some good beach days in there and get out and hit the beach. I would also encourage residents to be patient. we had some reports of some poor activity towards our staff out there. Just a reminder that these are young people just doing their job. Most of them are residents or their kids, and it's a no-brainer. But they are not to blame for anything, and we're handling this as a zero tolerance situation, and we hope that folks can act like adults and treat those young people with some respect for doing their jobs. And on a more positive note, 4th of July parade is on. It's tomorrow. It's on July 3rd this year at noon. Many of the board will be marching. I'm hoping to have my family out there with me as well. It's really exciting, particularly with the backdrop of the last year and everything being shut down essentially. I'm really looking forward to celebrating our real first public event that we've had since the pandemic started. So this is rain or shine. As far as I know, everything's on, and you can expect some road closures starting in the morning. But it's going to be a great day for Duxbury and our surrounding communities to celebrate the holiday.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that you're able to join us in the future for more episodes of InFocus Town Talk.